Welcome to Talk of the Town, proudly brought to you by Uniquely Nelson. I'm your host, Chris Butler. With me once again, Simon Duffy, General Manager of Uniquely Nelson. Today, we're coming to you from Sublime Coffee on New Street. Fantastic to be in here. And joining us from Sublime Coffee is Emma and Dan Hennah. Great to have you here. Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being part of the podcast. We're doing a whole series of them for businesses, and yours is unique. So first, both of you can just tell me a little bit about yourselves, your background and where you came from, preferably one-on-one, so it's not in stereo.
You can start.
Okay. It's a funny question. I think we've been doing coffee for so long. When we talk about that, we feel like coffee's our background. Now we've been doing this for 20 years, so 20 years in November.
Right.
So
Wow.
but I mean, previous to that, I worked in movies. That's the family business I grew up with, is movie work and moving around and that kind of background.
So tell us about that. Was that mainly in New Zealand, or did you travel overseas as well?
Bit of both.
And so what kind of work was that?
That I did was the bulk of it was physical effects. So making smoke and atmospheres and fires.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Using dynamite.
Yeah, okay. Occasionally we get things to blow up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
But no, for a couple of years of that, and before that, art department, props and things like that, which is the family. That's what my dad still does that.
Right.
Was that based in Wellington?
Sometimes,
yeah.
Yeah, early days of New Zealand film. So they were small jobs that were only went for 3 months, 4 months, and you'd be in a different town and then somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's a lot of moving around. Yeah.
Was that in the early, like in the 70s and 80s, especially when television and Avalon was built in Lower Hutt, and it really took off?
In the 80s, yeah. I was only born in the 70s, so
right. Okay.
wasn't working.
There's always one.
Yeah.
And so any productions we might know the name of?
Yeah. All the ones that jump to mind was just at the end of, before we started coffee, the last one I worked on King Kong doing the car.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow. Oh, right.
Yeah, and before that, the Lord of the Rings stuff. And
oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got right in the middle of all of that.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep.
What were a couple of the early productions you worked on?
So much little stuff. I mean, the stuff when I think right back, like when I was a kid, Dad was doing like Savage Islands and those early New Zealand movies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I can remember those pretty well. But yeah.
Fantastic.
So we're obviously on New Street here in Nelson. But where did you start off to get to where you are now? You said you've been in 20 years in the biz. That hasn't always been in Nelson, or as it was
coffee biz?
Yeah, has always been here.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, how did you come across this fella? Was it on a movie set?
Yeah, over a cup of coffee.
What were you doing before while he was running around doing movie sets?
That's a good question. I'm a North Island girl.
Yeah.
Came to Nelson sort of quite a while ago. So people say I do say I'm from the North Island, but I'm a Nelson girl. Been here probably 26 years. Dan founded the business the year before I met him. So sort of it's a bit of a romantic coffee story. I kind of fell in love with
or 3 coffees to begin with, didn't you?
Yeah.
Drink coffee. Yes, I don't know how we met. I don't know how that happened.
We lived around the corner. That's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. The bottom.
I see. So you're already in Nelson.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what were you doing prior to coffee years?
Oh, I was a teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Primary.
are you allowed to name schools?
No, I was a teacher in Nelson. I've have taught at, I think the last school was Enniglin.
Oh,
A little
right,
bit at Nelson to me.
So it's mainly primary school.
Yeah, primary schools. Yeah. And then for the first little while, I kept teaching, and we'd sort of do coffee work together on the weekends and after school and things. And then after a while, it would kind of became apparent that it was good for both of us to be heading in the same direction.
Okay, so we keep jumping. We've got to go back to how you two met. How did that happen? And how did you get to Nelson?
I was actually born in Nelson. And
Yeah.
And sort of in between moving around, this would always be home base. So my grandparents were out in Mapua, and and I love it here. And so when I wanted to make the break from movies, this was where I wanted to come to. That was a big part of it, was being able to come here and have a bit more of a solid base. So we ended up in just me in the Haven Road spots, the 211 Haven Road, the old house, and on just absolute shoestring budget. So that was my flat out the back.
Oh,
and
right.
and started the business in the front room. And Emma lived up around the corner,
I see.
just up the hill.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, you didn't pop in for coffee because you didn't really drink coffee. Just met at the corner store.
Yeah, maybe it was a bit like that.
You two can't remember, can you?
It's a long
Let's move on, Chris.
Yeah. How much you want to know?
And how far
Let's move on.
Well,
Move on.
Well, now I really must move on. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we've established at least he had the shop on Haven Road,
Right.
Yeah.
and then in you walked. There you go.
there you go.
Yeah.
Isn't that's a nice story?
And
yeah.
you were starstruck, and that was it.
Yeah.
Love at first
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. And shortly after that, I'd moved into Emma's house, and that upwards and onwards. Yeah.
Now you are giving all the details.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Very
think
convenient, just around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
that
good.
the business just sort of it grew really fast, it snowballed, and then we got to a point really quickly where we kind of knew that we had to, if we were going to keep going, we had to throw in and have the energy of both of us, and
Yeah, we
had to
and
be able
we
to continue.
really enjoyed working together.
Yeah.
We kind of right at the start we had a great time working together, and I think that's always continued. You know, we try to kind of keep everyone that works in the business having a good time each day.
Yeah.
It's kind of how we started, and that's how we want to continue. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so tell and what I didn't realise is that location on Haven Road was kind of where it started, because I've certainly seen the brand all over the place, but I didn't really know where the base was. And my introduction to that place was a bit later on in life, so I thought they had started up after. So that was the original.
Yeah.
So where did it evolve to from there? And I guess the question is, there was selling coffee across the counter, but then presumably selling coffee beans. So where did the growth come from?
I think the original idea was to be wholesaling to cafes and things, and to mainly cafes. That was the idea, and we really put that coffee machine there so we'd be able to have conversations with people and say, this is our product. And I'd never really thought it would be a busy sort of fizzing espresso bar. It was just I think we had such a casual way of dealing with the people that came in for a coffee, because we weren't really thinking that it was going to grow into a busy spot. So it was very relaxed atmosphere. So, and I think that really helped. It just ended up being
organically, just
more and more and more, and
casual approach.
That wasn't sort of unintended outcome, but we just went with it. Yeah.
So you also do wholesale.
Yeah.
And distribution to, before we kicked off, you mentioned it's not just from Nelson, South Island, but it is further north, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've got an espresso bar and dispatch kind of centre in Palmerston North as well. Yeah, it's got a kind of a team that works out of there, and they distribute to the North Island, and from here we distribute to the south.
Is most of your clientele currently in the South Island?
Yeah,
The majority?
yeah, top of the south.
Are you wishing to expand more into the north?
Yeah, it's tricky, because I mean, in terms of cafe sales, and that's all mainly the top of the south, because we're able to support them with easier with training and tech support and that kind of stuff. But yeah, in terms of like people that we send coffee to, or web sales and things, that's countrywide, and probably the heaviest is from out of Auckland.
In Auckland.
Yeah.
And what kind of clientele is that? Mainly cafes and that kind of stuff, or is it individuals as well?
From out of Auckland.
Well, in general, with your
Yeah.
website sales or your wholesale sales, who are you mainly selling to?
I guess the main kind of part of our business is wholesale cafe supply.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of like probably about 80%. And then there's our we have our flagship stores and then the online sales.
Right.
Yeah.
Running an enterprise like this, as with most businesses, what's the real challenge, or what challenges did you start off with that you don't have now that you do have now? What's your hardest hurdles
Big
and
question. Yeah, I
as
guess.
things become easier at the beginning?
Yeah,
How did it?
that's interesting. I think sometimes with a business that grows and evolves, it's always about keep making sure that your infrastructure can hold it. And so, we started on a little tiny 5 kg roaster in the front of the Haven Road building.
Right.
So, there was a roaster in the corner, there was an espresso bar, and then there was a flat at the back. And then slowly we've built and changed and grown as we've needed to. But generally, the feet have to go pretty fast at that time. So that's quite there's little challenges there. Yeah.
So now, what would you think?
I think we've been the challenge that Emma's talking about. We've sort of been through it quite a few times, and we'll get our structure to a certain level, and then the sales and the other side of the business has to catch up, and then all of a sudden you're pedaling fast again, and we've been through like 4 main roasting plants, and we've had to grow sort of a bunch of times. But I mean, now we're up to a level where our capacity is really high, and we probably don't need to worry about that too much for quite a while. But I mean, now we're sort of that's actually the whole time, but now in particular, we're always juggling with coffee. We're buying the raw product from all around the world, and the prices can be affected by weather, or it's a globally traded commodity, so the price goes all over the place. And I think for us to try to give consistency to the people that we're supplying, and whether it be someone at home and they just want to know how much their cup of coffee is going to cost, or even with wholesale supply, we try to moderate that. And then in the background, the green bean price goes up and down and all over the place. So that's quite tricky to manage sometimes. I mean,
like an exchange rate going up and down.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned 5 kg. That's the roaster.
But that's the capacity of the
That's it,
roaster.
yeah,
So like five of those coffee bags.
So what's that thing over there now?
Yeah.
That thing's 60.
60.
Yeah,
5 to 60.
So I mean, just to give you an idea, like the initial sort of goal that we had was to try and get up to roasting 100 kilos of coffee a week, because I'd been told by someone in the industry that was kind of a level where it became viable.
Tipping point.
That took a year to get to, and I mean, at this stage we're a bit slower over winter, but we'll be roast somewhere between 2 and 3 ton a week now. So it's
amazing.
Yeah, it's just kept on rolling.
And the coffee bean supply, presumably, are you importing from all over the place, depending on blend, or?
Yeah, at times. I mean, mostly we'll buy through, have a good relationship with an importer who is going to be able to give us a bunch of different origins. And there's sort of logistical things with, if we're to go straight to origin to make that economically viable, we end up with 20 ton of one thing, because that's a container full is 20 ton. But really, to get the blends how we want them, we need a bit more diversity, and that works better if we're working with importers, and just trying to have strong relationships there.
They're also experts in their field, so it's good to kind of leave the experts doing their thing.
True. Yeah, that's right. A couple of things on your website. First of all, the team, and I noticed there was the training position there as well. So I'd like to know a little bit about what that role entails. And the second thing is there was a whole page dedicated to the environmental process, or the sustainability process. So can you tell us about that discussion you had right at the very beginning about sustainability? Was it conscious, or did you just grow into it?
No, it was 100% conscious. Yeah, our packaging company are EcoWare in Auckland, and they're a New Zealand company founded by two young guys, but they've grown up. Yeah,
They used to be.
Yeah. I have to send that to Alex. He'll love it. But they offered us great support. We wanted to make sure that everything that we sent our product out in was compostable, basically, but to minimize impacts we have on and so they've designed products, they've helped us set up systems, and we're really proud of that. I think we're one of the first coffee companies in New Zealand to have 100% compostable packaging, because it's our coffee bags, our cups, our lids, our straws, everything. So there's still a place for takeaway cups because consumers want it, but we feel that we are giving them the best option that we can.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of persistence around trying to get that set up here, but just so there was a channel to do something with the compostable, because it's great that you've got compostable packaging, but then if everyone just throws it in the bin anyway, there's no great advantage there. But so we worked with a bunch of people locally, ongoing. It really took a few years to sort of get to the point where we could get that compostable stuff somewhere to be composted.
Yeah.
And the system was solid. It had to be solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had to be something that could go through checks and balances and be shown to be effective. Yeah. So it took quite a few years to get to that point where we could actually say, this is working.
So what, I suppose two sides to any business. It's what I look at when I look over here to the back end, and then here's the front end with the customers, and then there's also the out and about selling your product. What part of the business do you share your roles, or someone's more stronger with the HR side and the admin, and what's the one thing you enjoy most?
Oh, there's like 100 questions.
100 questions.
What do we? The thing I enjoy the most actually is the sense of community. Whether it's sort of in our little office, or whether it's in the big roastery or the wider team, but also with the customers and the town. Like coffee brings people together. And I think as long as I feel like I'm in that community, and I love my job. Yeah.
What do you do?
It's a good question. I mean, I was just sort of thinking, we do have, I feel the same way, that part of being in the team and having an atmosphere where people want to come to work and it's fun, and that's my favorite bit. But so another part of your question, just kind of about what we've gone through. We've been working together obviously for a really long time, and we've as the business has different needs, and we've had to kind of figure out each other's strengths and be able to kind of
complement each other.
Exactly. And I've got to know when to kind of take a knee and just to sort of basically to let other people work to their strength. It's not my wheelhouse. Gotta
let go, Dan. You gotta let go.
Step back, Dan.
So tell us about the team then, because kind of going back to my training position, because you have got some roles there and some key members of your team. So tell us about that, but also I'm quite interested about the training side of it. So what do you do there? So tell us about the team.
Well, there's no way the two of us could do what we do alone. So we have quite a big team. We've got operations manager and a roastery manager, and as people who focus on HR for us, and a roasting department. We have kind of, I'm tripping over everything here.
No, it's good.
It's kind of like there's quite a collection of us. And we try and find the right person for the right role, and so then they end up really enjoying their work, and they come to work each day and not only enjoy it, but they can offer their best because they're in a good place. Izzy is our trainer at the moment. So she actually flies her. She gets to fly around New Zealand and go to pop in and out of different places and train people.
So what's she training? What's she doing?
Espresso training.
Right. So how to make.
How to make the coffee.
And
it was kind of early on. We kind of figured out that if you've got your coffee in somewhere and they're branded and they're doing the whole thing, and you want that to reflect well, and for them to do that business to do well and sell lots of coffee, and you've really got to offer to help them along, making sure that they're getting the best product they can in the cup. And a big part of that is training staff.
Yeah.
Have you seen that program or did a documentary on Guinness? And you have to do the perfect pour for Guinness, and they have inspectors.
Oh, they come around and check.
They
Yeah.
come and check that you've done it right.
Okay.
Every so often you have to keep it up. And there are some pubs that weren't authorised to do it, and the inspector will come in if you're not on the list and mystery shop you to make sure you're doing the pour all right. And if you're not, well, you can't sell Guinness. So that might be a job for you one day, Dan, just traveling the country.
Yeah, it's never quite come to that, but no, I think we offer it and we don't charge for it because for us we feel like it benefits everyone.
But it's about that quality finish, isn't it?
It's about just bringing people up, and quite often for baristas, there's a lot of young people, there's sort of people getting into work and things like that, and it's just sort of good to be able to say if people are on board with the coffee that we're going to try and bring their team up and keep developing.
Well, it must have worked because you've had a massive impact on my life. Because on the weekend I can't go anywhere unless we've been to Haven Road Sublime Coffee first.
Oh, good.
So what's our plan for the weekend? Well, first we're going to go to Sublime.
Yeah, good start.
Has to be every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So it's worked.
Oh, good.
Spare time. What do you enjoy the most?
Yeah, wow. Okay.
So you've got kids?
You've got 4.
Got 4.
Gee,
Yeah.
wow.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
take a bit of time.
Yep.
So weekends, holidays, where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah, well, the number one thing is family stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of we hang out with family.
Yeah. No, we're lucky. We've got both of our sets of parents live in this region as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
We like to get out and about. We love the beach. Yeah. Recently, we're trying to encourage some snow up the mountains so we can go up there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like to use Nelson and get around and do things. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, and we both, I guess when we're working a lot and we try and balance it up with some fitness, and Emma does a bunch of Pilates and gym work and stuff, and I do a bunch of jiu-jitsu and some gym work as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Finding that balance, that quality of life.
Yeah.
Having fun. We always have with our organisation, whatever you do, you have fun on the way through.
Yeah.
There's certain pressure points.
Yeah.
And also quality of life outside of work. You find that balance. It's
Yeah,
important.
it's important.
Especially at the moment, in the last 3 or 4 years. Been different.
Been trickier. Yeah.
You now, I mean, you've grown premises wise too, because now you've got this place, which is fantastic. Beautiful frontage, a deck, right next to Two Thumbs as well. So you can have a coffee and then move across the road, or vice versa, have a late night coffee. But also great premises out the back, plenty of room now for the wholesale business. And now you're servicing the travellers at Nelson Airport as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's that gone for you there?
Good. We opened there 2018. Yeah. And then we all know what 2019 brought. So that was a quick change.
Yeah.
So,
Travellers stopped.
yeah.
Not quite for a second for some reason.
Yeah.
And but I mean, everyone's moving around again now. It's pretty cool to be at the gateway to the region, to welcome people with good coffee and also send them off with coffee.
It's a good hang point, isn't it? I've been to quite a few meetings there on the bench seats and grab your coffees and have the meeting. It's a good spot there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with that though, this premise here and with your Haven Road, you are right in the middle of Nelson CBD area. So you work here, you're amongst it. So can you tell us a little bit about what you enjoy about Nelson City, but at the same token, what would you like to see? There's a lot of talk about that at the moment.
Yeah. What do we enjoy about Nelson? There's so much to enjoy. I love the environment. I love the community. I think it's a city that offers most things that bigger cities offer, but it's a much smaller city, so you can get around it really easily. You know, it's safe. We've got kids, so it's you know, being in a safe environment is really important. And our kids can just walk around and use the buses. The buses are amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I love those. Yeah.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, I've just always loved it here. It was sort of, it has a feel. It has a feel to it. You know, it's a relaxed place. Good weather. I mean, I hope. I'm really glad to see the buses, like you say, but I just, you know, I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more growth, more interesting stuff. I think it'd be really cool to sort of try look at what would help keep young people, giving young people something more to do. When I say young people, I mean younger than me, maybe in their 20s and
or teenagers. Yeah,
teenagers as well. I think just that would probably be the next thing that would be really cool to see develop in Nelson.
Yeah, more job opportunities.
Yeah, jobs or training or whatever it is. Just something that gives. I mean, our older kids are in their 20s, and so they've gone through that stage of, I think, where they'd probably like to be here, but their careers have got them somewhere else at the moment. So I mean, I guess that for me, I think I'd just like to see it keep growing and developing.
Perhaps a movie special effects department at Founders Park.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
Might be able to give them a few tips.
Set up a studio somewhere. Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, look, it's been fantastic to meet you guys and actually have a closer look in here. What a great job. The backdrops are just getting better and better every time we do these podcasts. An amazing backdrop. Looks great in here. And just what a fantastic story for you guys. And something obviously you really love doing, which is half the battle, isn't it? Yeah. So, and we appreciate you offering this as our podcast venue for the next couple of podcasts. So we really appreciate that.
No, look, thanks for coming. Yeah.
Thanks very much and all the best. Keep it going.
Awesome. Thank you.
Heartfelt thank you to Emma and Dan for not only the venue, but inviting us in to learn about their business. You can find this podcast along with others at uniquelynelson.co.nz and talknelson.co.nz and on Spotify. Just look for MBS Talk Nelson. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to join us next time for another episode of Talk of the Town. This is Chris Butler and Simon Duffy signing off. Until next time, Nelson.
Stay unique.
Stay
unique.
First time. Actually,
I was going to do something.
I
was going to say something,
and
but
you
it's a
had
bit
the perfect
risky.
opportunity to change it up there because you could have said "Stay Sublime."
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
Stay sublime.